One of the toughest things I think life is really about, it's about starting life over again. Starting life over again where you have to go even if you do not really understand or fully understand the picture of what life will really be about. It's really very hard to start over again. It's really very hard to start over again because sometimes it feels like you didn't have anything figured out. It sometimes feels like you didn't have your life all planned out, and having to start life over again becomes very, very difficult. I've counted a lot of times in my life that I have to start over again. Then I have to begin life over again. At first it started so sad. It started so discomforting because, I was not mentally prepared for what was ahead. I was really not mentally prepared for what was really, really going to happen. I didn't know what it means to start over. I didn't know what it means to restart. So basically, I always used to feel like, it's really a bad thing. I always used to picture myself and then I'm like, I'm far behind. Others are ahead of me. What have I been doing with my life all these years, all this while? So it's actually kept a dent in my head, in my mind, but then when I realized that was the worst that could happen when you have to restart over again. So you might be in a position where you have to start your life over again, and by starting over again might simply mean you going back to the drawing board and just doing what pleases you, doing what you're happy about, not really concerned about what others might think, what others might feel, or how you might be perceived, or how you might be looked at. Not really so concerned on how devastating it might be, or how it might look as though in quote you do not have everything figured out, but then you come to a point where you are ready to just start over again. It could be start your career over again. It could also be you have relocated to a new space, and then it's like you really have to start over again, and there are pointers that will point you to know that it is really time to start over again. It is really time to go back to the drawing board, and it's never late. It's never late to start over again. So there are different signs and pointers that you might begin to experience that you will just know that I guess it's really time to start over. What's the worst that could happen? What's the worst that could happen if you start over, if you start that business again, if you reinvent yourself, if you just become so in touch with yourself that because you get to live once, we get to live this life in quotes just once. So why play a stage where you are meant to be on the stage? Why act a certain way when you are just meant to be your authentic self, while assumed to have attained a certain height when in reality you haven't, when you are just meant to grow and be submissive into the process of learning and growing to actually come to whatever picture you have in your mind. They're really going to come with a whole lot of seasons, but then you have to first of all not compare yourself with anybody. You don't have to compare yourself with whoever that is ahead. You can see them as a motivation, knowing fully well that okay, it's like you have them as a witness. It's like you have them like as a cloud of witness, because the Bible says that we are so surrounded with so much cloud of witnesses. These are people that have gone ahead of us, that we definitely know that the purpose and plans that God has for our lives are of good and not of evil. That's to say that God has a plan. He has a purpose for our individual lives. There is a reason why we are birthed. There is definitely a reason why he created us in this universe. He didn't create us to walk in other people's dreams. He didn't create us to be shadows to other people's realities. He actually created us to be our own player in the game of life. And this will only happen if we go back to our inner self, if we really go back to our inner mind and begin to reanalyze our values. Like, what's more important to you? What brings you the greatest joy? What brings you the greatest happiness? What would you be proud about doing for the long run? What would you want to leave behind if life in quotes is no more? What would you rather want life to be like? So these are pointers that will tell you, okay, it's high time for me to start over again. Have you been heading towards a particular path and then certain things are happening and it's really not aligning with your values, it's really not aligning with certain, you know, visions and values that you hold very dear to your heart, it could actually be a sign for you to really restart over again. And you know, if you also feel like you've gone through a lot of pain, like you've gone through a lot of pain that has actually, you know, tampered with how you picture life, it's really high time for you to start over again. Now sometimes we do not know that pain actually changes us. I was watching a video recently, and then she was talking about how pain, you know, could actually change someone, how you can be overly, you know, be a very happy person, a very happy soul, and all of a sudden, you know, you just become so sad. Like you change in such a way that from a very happy and jovial girl, you know, you become this timid and inwardly, you know, always want to protect yourself kind of, you know, person, because pain really changes us. And you know, and sometimes we do not realize how this, you know, can linger for a very long time, you know. So while watching that video, right, I got to see the light of it, you know, I got to really see the light of that aspect. So these are also pointers for you to go back to the drawing board. What is that event that has happened in your life that had changed the trajectory of how you picture life or how you see life? What's your mental orientation about life? How is your mental orientation now about life? Is it you know, is it working, you know, together with how you've always pictured life? You know, so these are pointers, knowing fully well that, you know, this is your life, this is your journey, this is your process, and whatever comes along with it, you know, it's part of the journey and it's part of the process. It's not going to be all rosy. It is never going to be all smooth and saily. Like, you have to come to the point where you are okay even when you are not okay. Like, you are okay even when the moment and the events are good, and you are also okay even when the events and moments are also not good, because these are actually the events that surrounds life. And you have to be real about these emotions. You have to be real about what you feel. You have to be real about each of these seasons of your life, that as you progress and as you go into all that God has for you, you know that, okay, those seasons are really going to come with different flavors. But then how do you speak to yourself? How do you stay motivated day in and day out? Oh my God, it's really going to come with a whole lot of drama. Like, it's going to come with a whole lot of seasons of unknowing, seasons you are gonna really cry. Like, you're gonna cry, you'll be like, oh my God, like, what's happening? Like, you will be so not aware that you're gonna cry. You're just going to cry. There are seasons that you will cry, and then there are seasons that you're overly motivated. There are seasons that you are not even motivated, but then you have to come to you have to know that these are just the journey. This is just a journey into, you know, something beautiful that God has for you. And life is your stage, and there is no need comparing your race, your journey, your purpose with anyone else's journey. Own your journey, you know, and own every state that you're in, and just really exist. I really hope that when we really come to that point where we are not acting a part, but we're ready, but we are rather living our existence, I think life will become more peaceful. Yeah, so thank you for watching this video, and see you in our next video.